Okay, we resource, he heals, and then we attack for the win. Kylo coming in hot to win the game. All right, so if we look this up, we did 37 damage because I went over. We presented 7.4 damage per turn, right? And we had 5 turns. Welcome back, TCG Squad. I want to go over a budget aggression Kylo deck. This deck actually costs around $25. I wanted to share this video to have any of the new people that are trying to come into the game and they can't get a lot of boxes or product from set 1 or even set 2 because it's just sold out everywhere at this point. This deck consists of commons and uncommons, but it has a couple rares in there. Mainly the only real rare is the fallen lightsaber. So I want to go ahead and get this started and show you what the deck does. For those who are new to Star Wars Unlimited, it's centered around Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren has the ability, you have to discard a card from your hand and you give that unit +2 and know this phase. You're getting rid of your hand to buff a unit to do more damage. This is your classic aggro deck. It is, the whole purpose is to do damage and just race your opponent. Your ideal win conditions is usually by turn 5. You should be about to win, on the verge of winning. If you cannot win on turn 5 or 6, you're more than likely going to lose the game. But let's go ahead and go over this and talk about each of the cards. Guild targets are the only bounty we're currently having in this deck. We have 2 of them. It's basically, you can play a bounty if you know you can kill an opponent's unit, especially if it's a unique unit. You're going to be doing 3 damage to the base. So this is a 0 cost. It's an easy way to reduce your hand size and then ultimately get some damage in when you're trading with a unit. Now, most of the times you do not want to trade with this deck. You really want to do all damage goes to the base, but there are times where you do want to trade with your opponent, and this is when guild target comes into play. Now, we have a lot of 1-drops. We have Death Star Stormtrooper, Benthic 2 Tubes. We have the TIE LN Fighter. We have the Reckless Gunslinger. We have Daring Raid. We have Ruthlessness. All of these cards are designed to help us play more than 1 unit at the beginning of the game. Ideally, you want your opening hand to have at least 1 of these 1-drop units and the Fallen Lightsaber, which I'll get to in a moment. Depending on your hand, if you get Death Star Stormtrooper and Benthic 2 Tubes, on attack, Benthic 2 Tubes gives another red friendly unit +2. You want to attack with Benthic 2 Tubes, which gives you the 2 damage on the base. Then it buffs your Death Star Stormtrooper, which will put him at 5 attack. Then you attack with that. At that point, your opponent, if they went, maybe pay the space unit first, you're free reign to do some damage onto your opponent's base. Now, you could also, depending on the scenario, you can use Kylo's ability, discard a card from your hand, and then play, then attack with the Death Star Stormtrooper, and he's coming in for 7. 7 damage is a lot at the beginning. The 2-drops are really our Partition Insurgent, Bo-Katan, Craze, Maze, Mayfield, Armed to the Teeth. Maze is actually very, very good. So even if you get Maze at the beginning, a good combo to use with Ms. Mayfield, you play Ms. Mayfield, you're going to trigger Kylo's ability, you're going to discard a card. When you discard a card, you're going to do 2 damage to a unit, which is Migs Mayfield's ability. That unit's now damaged, now you Tarkin Town it. And that is the combo for Tarkin Town. Tarkin Town, you actually want to use it as soon as you can. I have found that if you try to save it for somewhere, it's not going to help you out. Other than that combo, it's pretty straightforward. Armed to the Teeth, buff up a unit, attack with a unit, give the other buff, and attack with the second unit. Ruthlessness, just slightly cut again. You can equip Ruthlessness and Armed to the Teeth to your space ships as well, your space vehicles, because there's no limitation to non-vehicle only. So if you have more of a hand, a space opening hand, and you have some of these cards, buff those cards. That gives you you're really racing against your opponent. Now for your 3-drops, the most important 3-drop is Fallen Lightsaber. Reason being is by the time you get to the turn where you can probably play Fallen Lightsaber, which is going to be your turn 4, is when you want Kylo Ren. You want to deploy Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren has, on his leader side, leader unit side, he gets -1 attack. Excuse me, -1 attack for every card in your hand. Your first couple of turns, you really want to be using Kylo's ability to buff your units to push damage, so that when you do deploy Kylo Ren, you could put that Fallen Lightsaber on him and then go to town. At that point, Kylo Ren's going to hit for 7 or 8. Now, there is caveats. Opponents know that Kylo only has 4 health, so they might wait and pass their turn. When they do that, you do not want to deploy Kylo Ren. If you have a Fallen Lightsaber in your hand, I would force them to try to use those resources to try to go after one of the units. I will gladly quit Fallen Lightsaber on Bo-Katan, Ms. Mayfield, anything, any of these 2-drops and attack, because that's just more damage. If you equip the Fallen Lightsaber to one of your units and you attack and they're still passing and you know that they have something that can kill Kylo, at that point, if they have initiative or you have initiative, it doesn't matter, just pass, right? Because when both players pass, we move to the next round. That means they wasted that resource turn, which is around 4 resources, to actually play units. So now you have an edge on units. And then lastly, our in-game units, as I call them, is going to be the Imperial Interceptor, the Hunting Nexu, and the Ruthless Raider. Hunting Nexu is really powerful because you're going to have a bunch of red units. He's going to be swinging in for 6. Imperial Interceptor is pretty good. His whole job is trying to take out those 3 costed ships. That's it. And then Ruthless Raider, 2 damage to base, 2 damage to a unit, right? So this could be a way to help thin out that ground unit, if he has a strong ground unit game, or if he has some pesky ships, a great way to take him out. And then I do want to point out Chaos of War on your Kylo deploy turn or your next round. This is a good also way to do some damage to finish out the game. Fifth Brother, again, he's a great target to put the Fallen Lightsaber on. I want to also point out that if you have Mixed Mayfield on the field and you have Force Throw, well, now you can use Force Throw. Now, because you have a Kylo, because he's a Force unit, you can deal damage. You can even Force Throw your own card so that it triggers Mixed Mayfield's ability, and then you can probably do damage to their units. It's actually a pretty good combination. Now, I want to keep in mind, this is a budget deck. Obviously, the actual more competitive deck costs a lot more, but this deck costs like $25, and I've seen some pretty good success. I'm seeing currently about a 50 to 60% win ratio. So that's actually really good for a budget deck. And if you found value, go ahead, and you're new and you're not a subscriber, I would greatly appreciate it if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It will really help me out. I will be making more budget decks here going forward. If you have any leader you want to kind of see a budget deck tech, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Tell me what that leader is, and I can start looking at how we can do a budget deck tech. Now, the next budget deck tech, I'm going to go ahead and probably going to end up doing a Cad Bane. I'm not sure which one, but more than likely it might be a Cad Bane double yellow, or maybe a Cad Bane green. We'll see. And it might even be a Cad Bane red, because a lot of the red cards, we could probably get them at a fairly cheap rate. But again, my goal when I make these budget decks, I'm trying to aim for around $25 to $50, right? I think that is a good threshold for a budget deck. But anyways, guys, I really do appreciate your time. Again, if you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, we'll really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Good day. Bye.